how will the IRA help Native Americans?
Yes, I would like to. Certainly,
I'll let you go first.
Yes, and I want to also say my grandfather's Yurok, so I'm known Quinault, Yurok family, a very small community. Yes, with respect to the IRA and how it's going to help tribal nations, as my relative said, it's difficult for our tribes to even access, to have the capacity to begin to undertake the work. And the investment that we're going to see through this act, this critical piece of legislation, we see it as it is historic, but really it's a down payment for what we need to accomplish in the future. And this is going to help us with capacity. It's going to help us not only achieve the goals that we have in our adaptation and mitigation strategies, but to even begin to understand the climate crisis that's facing each and every tribal nation. Quinault, my tribe has been working on climate change for decades, and our scientists have called our council for an SOS meeting. They said our science cannot keep pace with the multiplying and exponential impacts of climate change to really understand how it's affecting our communities. And so we need to try to even just use these dollars just to do the problem assessment, because before we can even do adaptation and mitigation strategies, we have to know what the challenges are, and there are many, and they're multiplying each and every year as science modeling, as my colleague here said, the pace is outpacing even conservative modeling over the years. And so tribal nations are trying to do that. So those are some of the key things that's going to help with us, with our salmon recovery efforts, with relocating our villages to higher ground. We have 2 villages in my nation that have to move their entire village to higher ground because of sea level rise. The place where my ancestors signed the treaties are now underwater. Our glaciers are melting, the Anderson glaciers that feeds the mighty Quinault. We had millions of salmon in the 50s and 60s. The year I got elected, we only had 3,000. And so all of the efforts that we've undertaken, we're now going to have the resources to begin to implement those adaptation mitigation strategies, as well as enlist these resources to do additional trying to assess the current state of the crises. Thank you for the question.
I could add
Please.
to piggyback off some of her comments. Here at the Yurok tribe, we have a world-class fisheries program. We've already been doing salmon restoration work to allow our salmon to recover from the gold mining that's been done. They have ravaged their habitat. We've already been doing the work. The IRA will help us continue this work that we've already been doing. Also, we're looking at forestry management with cultural fire, as I mentioned in my speech. That would also give us the funding to continue that work, because right now our habitat is not habitable for the deer and the elk and all the animals because of the timber companies' mismanagement. That would give us the funding to implement these things on our land. And we also do carbon sequestration already, but we've already committed those funds to purchasing our land back. We've made investments to regain our ancestral territory. Also, we've also invested in forestry management practices with equipment and giving our people jobs. That is where this is going to be a big part of it, is giving our tribal members jobs, but we don't have right now. The opportunity to buy a home, opportunity to have a stable car, to be able to go to the grocery store and not have to worry about how much money is in your bank account. Those are the things that is going to help us as Yurok people.